One happy Sunday. Thanks for being here today on a sunny Sunday afternoon. Sunny Sunday afternoon. It's shaping up to have no snow, which is very nice. I'm hoping my Bills pull it off in the fourth quarter here. I don't know what the score is. If you guys know, put in the chat. Let me know. What's going on, Lisa? Mark, how you doing? Nick, good to have you here. What's going on? I see Becky. Sport with NG. What's going on? If I get your name wrong in there, I apologize. But great to be here with you guys today. And we'll wait just a couple minutes here, let people start trickling in. But we've got a really great show today. We're going to be doing a lot of just cool, inspirational, motivational stuff, talking about ways to adapt with the great reset, as I'm calling it, as we call it. Okay. So a lot of changes happening in the world, a lot of changes happening. And so you can either adapt, as I say in the title, or disappear, more or less. Not that you're truly going to disappear, but a lot of potential and a lot of, ways for success for you might possibly disappear. So we got to roll with the punches. We got to be able to change. We have to be able to adapt, improvise, overcome, as we say in the Marine Corps all the time. And so we've got a really inspirational show, though. We're going to talk about Elon Musk, about Serena Williams, about Sarah Blakely, Jensen Huang from NVIDIA. Talk about James Clear, if you don't know who he is. He's the one who wrote Atomic Habits. And we've just got a lot of great stuff to cover today. And even, believe it or not, we'll talk a little bit about The Rock as well, too, later on. But what separates these unstoppable leaders in their fields? Okay, we have people from sports, from high-tech industry, from business, writers, authors, all kinds of different people here. Sarah Blakely from Spanx, again, manufacturing, clothing industry. So lots of different walks of life. And we're going to talk about just what are these habits? What are these success strategies? And a lot of it has to do with first principles thinking that, believe it or not, they may not even know that they're doing, but like what Elon Musk talks about doing and Jensen Huang from NVIDIA, and many people actually do when they're breaking down things into their core elements and truths and rebuilding from there. So we're going to go ahead and get into this. So great to have you guys here. And once more, thank you so much for being here, spending the afternoon with me and letting me do what I love. This is awesome. Chat, when last we left our heroes, it was Friday night. We were having a good time, super fun. And so we are going to get into it. Hey, Sue, how's it going? Good to see you as well. We are going to get into it here as well. I see lots of different people here. Great to have you. And let's get rolling. We wait a couple minutes, and now we'll get it going. Okay, so really the title is How the Unstoppable Rebuild Their Lives from Truth, from the core elements that you look at through first principles thinking, okay? Because again, the purpose of this podcast, the purpose of this channel is for you to upgrade your life, okay? So for me to upgrade my life, for you to upgrade your lives, but this is like an hour of power, 2 hours of power. Friday night was 3 hours of power and fun, okay? But this hour of power really so that you can learn ways, means, things, tools, techniques, strategies that you can apply to your life tomorrow or right after we get off of this. You can go ahead and apply this to your life and you can start, making ground, gaining advantage on your goals, on your dreams, on all those things like that. Because I'm going to tell you, for example, what makes Elon Musk dangerous isn't that he's a builder of all these things. It's the way he thinks. Okay. And as one of my teachers, Tony Robbins, once said, and he says many times, 80% of success in life, okay, is psychology. 20% is mechanics and doing it. He would say that over and over again. And I fully believe in that. Your mindset is everything. Peter Diamandis is another great entrepreneur who has founded the X Prize. It's making all kinds of headway in many different industries where they have teams come together and invent new cures for diseases. They invent new technology, and lots of other billionaires fund this competition to create new technology. But Peter Diamandis has said the number one difference in your success in your life is your mindset. Okay, so we're going to work on that today. Work on our mindset. Work on the way we think, how we see things, because faith, belief, mindset, all these things, right, is what is going to drive you forward from where you are now to where you want to be. So if right now where you are in life, what you're experiencing isn't matching your vision and your blueprint, well, there are ways we can go about this to upgrade your life, to improve your situation, to alleviate some pain you might be having, and to make sure you have a better tomorrow and a better next year, a better next month, all that stuff. And honestly, make 2026 your best year ever. All right, let's get into this. Let's go, okay? So Again, we're talking about how the unstoppable leaders rebuild their lives from truth, how the way they think, the way they win. And I want to start off with a question, okay? Let me ask you a question that will decide the next 5 years of your life. It's not a motivational question, all right? It's not a hype question, a survival question. Are you growing faster than the world is changing? This is an honest question. Are you growing faster than the world is changing? Okay, because the world is changing quite a bit right now. Because, AI is not slowing down, right? Markets, they're not really stabilizing. You're going to see this all the time, right? We're seeing it more and more. The debt's not going down, and competition overall is not getting easier, okay? The Great Reset, overall, we talk about the Great Reset sometimes, right? This great change that's occurring in markets and technology, AI taking over so many jobs, right? Even the global world order, the situation's changing. We see that in the news. We talked about on Friday. We see it in the news all the time, okay? The Great Reset is not coming. It's actually here right now, okay? So tonight, you're going to learn the exact thinking model used by the people who always rise during crisis. And I think it's really important. During chaos and crisis, you have to know a way to think, because the bad times are coming, right? If you haven't experienced winter before or a hard time before, you're going to experience that at some point. But the thing you have to know is that empires are built. Mark my words, empires are built, strength is built, fortunes are made during winter, during chaos, during crisis, during the hard times, okay? But it starts with the way you think, your mindset, your mental strategies, your beliefs, the faith you have in what you're doing, the blueprint you're using, okay? Because unfortunately, if you're thinking of solving the wrong problem and you're asking the wrong questions, it'll lead you to the wrong answers, okay? Like I've said before in some of my posts and other lives, I said, you gotta make sure that you're not leaning your ladder against the wrong wall. If you're leaning your ladder against the wrong wall, against the wrong building, okay, you're gonna get to the top of that building and look around and say, damn it, this isn't where I wanted to be. It's not high enough, or it's not in the right town, it's not in the right location, okay? So we don't want to do that. And that's why we're going to dive in and we're going to talk about first principles thinking a bit. We've talked about it before in other lives. We covered Elon Musk and Jensen Huang, but from NVIDIA. But we're going to go ahead and deep dive into it today and even see in some ways how Serena Williams has used it, how Jensen Huang built NVIDIA from it, how James Clear is using it to establish atomic habits for other people, Sarah Blakely, so on and so forth. The Rock, okay, and we're going to show how they're using this in their own way, maybe calling it something different. But again, it gets down to this core element of the way you think about problems, okay? So let's go ahead and get into this right now. And if you're ready to stop inheriting limits and limiting beliefs and start rebuilding from truth, then type reset in the chat right now. Tell me in the chat, give me a fire symbol, put reset in the chat right now, or a fire symbol, and let's go ahead and get this thing going, all right? So, why most people lose in the Great Reset, okay, and all the change that's happening with AI, why most people are going to lose, okay? And you got to remember, most people don't lose because they're lazy, all right? They don't fail because they're lazy. They fail because they inherit broken beliefs and limiting beliefs and also unexamined rules. They have rules in their lives that make them behave a certain way that don't necessarily serve what their goals are and what they're trying to accomplish, okay? So they also have fear-based assumptions. And this is so important to understand. I see you, Lisa. Thank you. Doc, I see you. I see you as well. Awesome. I see your fire symbols. Perfect. And so, instead of having these fear-based assumptions, and they don't ask, when they have fear-based assumptions, they have these rules that they haven't tested yet in their lives, rules that hold them back, limiting beliefs that hold them back. They don't test them and ask, is this actually true? Why is this true? Okay. Does this still work? As once I've heard put before by a psychiatrist, does this still serve you? All right. Or a licensed clinical social worker, therapist, does this still serve me? Is a question to ask yourself for mental health, for example. Okay. And then just you at the basic level, is this habit I've built still serving me? Okay. Is this still serving me? Does this still work? Is this actually true? What I'm holding on to, the assumptions I have, are they actually true? And who said it has to be this way? Who said that? Where are these rules coming from? Okay. If you don't understand that, you're following blindly. You're just obeying a set of rules and limiting beliefs, this software running in your head that was put there a long time ago by someone else or by yourself through fear, through hardship, through reading the wrong things, listening to the wrong things. Maybe you got beaten down at one point, something like that. Okay. Or maybe you never pushed and tried. Maybe you never actually pushed yourself to see what you could do, to see what this machine could do, right? And how much you could take mentally, physically, morally, emotionally, all those things. And I'll tell you right now, when you blindly obey rules that you don't understand, that don't serve you, okay? You have habits that no longer serve you, rules that you don't even understand. You don't even know if they're true anymore. And you don't even understand why it has to be that way. You have fear-based assumptions. You have unexamined beliefs and limiting beliefs. What happens is that you create an average life. You create an average life, a mediocre life, okay? And, I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings, but I'm just saying, if this feels like something close to home right now, it's okay because you can change. And I'm here to tell you, each and every one of us in our lives, we're looking to get to our next level, okay? And the quality of your emotions, what you feel, is going to equal the quality of your lives. The quality of the questions you ask will help to get you out of a rut, okay? So we're going to work on that. Understand this, that the 4 traps of this reset that's coming are this. Number 1, dopamine addiction, okay? We get so addicted to just temporary excitement from scrolling on Instagram, Twitter, whatever it is, X, Snapchat, freaking TikTok, all these things like that, okay? Dopamine addiction, the quick fix, quick hits that really don't allow us to build, okay? A lot of times we're building in silence. We're building with the quiet work. We're building with work that might be a little bit boring, but it can be very satisfying if you see the progress you're making. So number 1, the 4 traps of the reset. Number 1, dopamine addiction. Number 2, victim identity. People love to wallow and indulge in sadness, indulge in feeling sorry for themselves, okay? And indulge in a victim identity, all right? And I'm not saying that sometimes things happen that are I'm not saying things happen that, are tragic that aren't tragic. I'm not saying that sometimes we get hurt by other people or by circumstances. But you got to be able to switch that around and take full charge of the situation, have acceptance and realize, okay, I'm in this right now. This happened, whether it's of my own fault, someone else's fault, the weather, Mother Nature, just chance and probability, whatever it is. I can't keep on falling into this victim mentality. Okay. I can't keep on feeling sorry for myself because all I'm doing is I'm going to be hurting my chance to change. When you constantly identify yourself as a victim, you're hurting yourself. You're hurting your chances to grow. You're getting rid of your responsibility. You hear that? Responsibility, the ability to respond. You're putting it off on somebody else. When you blame someone else, you are taking away responsibility. And again, you hear that. Break the words down. Break it into 2. Responsibility. Your ability to respond goes away when you blame someone else and you make yourself the victim. Okay? And you very may well have had something bad, really bad happen to you. I understand that. But we have to accept where we currently are right now and intend the future. Have our intentions set, our path set, our vision set. Be strong. Okay? And say, I'm not sitting here. No way. I feel that. I know what happened, but I will not let them take more than they took from me. I will not let this take more than it already took from me. I will not let this be my identity in my life. I'm going to rise up. I'm going to keep moving. I'm going to get up, get on, and get moving on the path to the promised land, right? To victory, to where I need to be. Okay? So that's the second one. Number 3, short-term emotional decision-making. Oh boy. This happens all the time, even in the food we eat. Even in the food we eat, short-term emotional decision-making. In the drinks we drink, the food we eat, all these things, okay? So you have to really understand that it's so important when you're looking at the short dopamine hit along with the short-term emotional payoff decision you make, right? Is this taking you off the path? Do you even know what the path is? Do you have your vision? Do you have your goals written down? Do you have all these things set? Do you have a strategy set up? Right? It is December, ladies and gentlemen. Chat, all my friends out there. It is December, okay? And I think it's time that we form a strategy for 2026. It's time to get clear and focused on what you want for 2026 and prepare and pave the way like a snowplow, right? We're plowing through the snow to make sure the path is clear. So we know, first of all, when we're off the path. Because if you don't know where you're going, anywhere will do. And you may not even realize when you're really off the path, right? That's going to lead you to your goals, to your dreams, to a better life, to improve the quality of your emotions, improve the quality of your life, right? All those things. So we got to get clear and focused about what we want. So we realize also we're mindful, we're very mindful, and we witness our decisions in the moment to know when we're making short-term emotion-based decisions that will take us off the path that we want to be in, the path of righteousness or whatever we want to say, okay? The correct path to take us where we want to go, okay? Very, very important. Number 4 of the 4 traps of this reset that's coming, okay? The major change that's coming. And this is so important because it's connected to your identity. Number 4 is external validation dependency. If you depend constantly on external forces, people on the outside to give you validation, and you don't have your internal compass set showing you what direction you're going and knowing this is the right direction for you, you know, it's just you're going to be doing this all the time, zigzag, back and forth, right? You're not going to be calm, confident, and strong and able to endure the hard times, the rejection. We're going to see, you know, so much rejection. Sarah Blakely, we talked about her before, so much rejection, okay? Elon Musk almost was totally bankrupt and failed. Serena Williams, right? You know, she faced a lot of pushback, a lot of rejection, okay? Based on race initially too. We're going to see some of that. But there's so much out there that is based on external validation and so much out there that beckons us. It calls us through the dopamine hits, through the social media to go ahead and get your validation externally. You got to have the vision. You got to have your compass set. You have to know the path, know your strategy, know what you want for 2026. Okay? And that's what we do in my coaching membership, my coaching community. When I'm working with my one-on-one clients, this month is the time. We're getting set up for 2026. Okay? So if you're in the coaching membership, I know some of you are out there in the coaching membership in the community, that's what we're going to be doing the next session. We're going to be working on what is our strategy and our plan. What is to lead us to our destiny, getting set for 2026 and get after it. Okay? So you got to think about these things and you got to make sure you understand who you are and who you want to be. There's certain exercises like having an exercise of understanding just who you are. I am who, I am what, okay? And I am not what I'm not as well too, okay? Because one of the most powerful forces in the human condition is the need to stay consistent with the way we see ourselves. So what ability do you have? You have the ability to change the way you see yourself, okay? So if you're seeing yourself in a negative light right now, you change this story. You change the way you see yourself. Other people will change the way you see you, okay? This is your brand as well. The way you allow people to treat you, boundaries, all these things will change the way people see you, therefore change your story, okay? What you will accept, what you won't accept. The way people treat you, what you'll accept and what you won't accept, okay? The way you treat yourself. Are you poisoning yourself? Do you treat your mind, body, and spirit as a temple, as something worthy, okay? Very, very important. All this stuff, okay? So huge, huge, huge. Before we jump into any more, I'm going to say hello in the chat here, see if I've got any. Hey, Nikita. Okay, Sport with NG. I see you, Nikita. Okay, I know it's you now. Let's see. Hi, Sport. Sue, it's Nikita. He's in the membership and community as well. Yeah, Becky, definitely. That was a fun time Friday night. It was definitely way past bedtime. But super fun. Hey, I'm so glad. Awesome, Doc. I'm glad it's exactly the topic you need to hear today. We're going to roll. We're going to have a good time with this and learn a lot for sure. Okay, let's say, sir, I'm a Luddite. So by nature, Becky, this is you. And capable of keeping up with the changing data. That's okay. You're right. It is okay. Just use it to your advantage. Use it to your advantage in writing and all that stuff. And Lisa, you're right. Is your client moving forward? Okay. All right. Let's fire it up and let's keep on rolling here. I got some good videos today as well too. Okay. But I want to intro on this and make sure, we really have a good idea on what's going on. So just remember, as a rule, you don't lack motivation. Okay. You lack leverage on yourself. You haven't motivated yourself. You haven't given yourself a powerful, compelling reason to change. Okay. Like when someone puts a gun to your head and says, you better get this done, they have leverage on you. Okay. Or, you see in the movies, if you don't do this, we're going to go ahead and blow up this building. They have leverage on you. If there are people in the building that you love, right? Well, or you just have a conscience. So you need to get leverage on yourself. One of the ways to do this is to think, if I don't make this change, what will life be like in 5 years? What's it going to be like? What's it going to be like in 2 years? What's it going to be like next year? The same thing. Ladies and gentlemen, everyone, chat, right? We get only so many summers, only so many winters. And I know it's going to increase because of AI. I know we're going to live longer, but I don't think we're at the point yet of living forever. So you have to understand, you got to make hay when the sun shines. And if you're hearing this right now, you have the knowledge. You know what you have to do. Put leverage on yourself. Get leverage. Tell yourself, okay, if you don't write this thing, then you have no chance at, having great success in writing. If you don't have that conversation, you'll never get the promotion. If you don't take more responsibility, take on more, you won't be able to get that project done, which will lead to the promotion. If you don't start the business, you'll never know. If you don't try out for this thing, you'll never know. Okay? Life won't change. Get leverage for yourself. And unfortunately, but it's just the way it is, sometimes we have to look at things with a little bit of the pain. What is the pain that will be caused if I don't make this change, if I don't go for it? Okay? If I don't motivate myself to see also, what's the opportunity cost of not changing? Okay? You have to look at that. That's how you get leverage on yourself. All right? When you said this is enough, I've had enough, and this becomes a must, and you must change it, and enough is enough, you're going to change. So sometimes you need to take a look at those pain points. Where do you feel like you're stuck? Where do you feel like, damn it, I've had enough. I'm going to make this change. I'm done. I'm done with this. I'm moving on. I'm moving up. I am making the change. Where do you feel that? Okay? And I got news for you. Don't do it alone. Don't go it alone. When you have that moment and you're ready to make the change, recruit help. Get help, okay? Get a coach. Get a mentor. Take a course, okay? Commit. Do something. Join a community. Join a membership. Do something like that, okay? But you want to get with a group that will be supportive of you and hold you accountable, have an accountability circle, and someone that can guide you along the way that you check in with, all right? And that's also going to teach you things to get you ahead, okay? All right. And remember this also, very important. You don't lack resources. You might tell me, Ben, I don't have the resources. I don't have the time. I don't have the money. I don't know, okay? You don't lack resources. You lack resourcefulness. You must be resourceful. Remember, if everything were on the line, your life, the ones you loved, everything else, you're going to fight, bite, and scratch your way to make it ahead. You're going to find a way to do it, find a way to get there, find a way to get the money. You're going to find a way. And what if that one thing you did, the one distinction, the small thing you learned in the course, in the membership, with the coach, with the mentor, when you went to college, okay, when you started the business and got the right employees and you found the money to get the right employee to help you, what if that changed everything? What if all your dreams came true? Okay? Or at least your life was a hell of a lot better, right? You hit some major goals. What if? And I'm here to tell you, this is what happens. People make a decision, they find the resources to do it, and all of a sudden, everything changes for them. Okay? So remember, you don't lack resources, you lack resourcefulness. All right, let's talk about first principles thinking. What it really is. Okay? First principles thinking means this. It means that you strip something down to its absolute bare core elements, its fundamental truths, okay? That it can't be reduced further down. What laws can't be broken down further? What are the irrefutable, immutable laws of physics? What are the laws of in whatever situation you're in? What are the fundamental core elements of it that can't be broken down further? Okay, the core truths of the situation, all right? So you rebuild the situation from these core elements and not the big mishmash of different ideas coming in, all right? This gives you a very clear assessment of really what's going on. And when you know what the problem is, you can ask the right questions to move forward, to build a better future. But if you're asking the wrong questions or you're working on the wrong problem and the wrong question, it's going to take you the wrong place. Okay? So you have to understand you need to rebuild from truth, and you break those truths down, you break the elements down instead of tradition. All right, here's an example from Elon Musk, okay? Everybody said rockets are so expensive. There's no way you're going to be able to create a reusable rocket. And so Elon Musk asked, well, what are rockets really made of? Okay? And that question from there built SpaceX. All right? And I want to tell you one more thing that's very important, that your income will never exceed the quality of the questions you live inside of. Okay? The quality of the questions you ask, all right, will determine the quality of your life, the quality of your income, the quality of so many things. Okay? And then having the courage and the faith to take action on the answers you get. That's a hard part too. Okay? It's hard, but it's easy. It's simple, but it's hard. It takes courage, not easy. Okay? And you got to believe in yourself. You got to bet on yourself, and you got to invest in yourself. You got to stand up for yourself. You got to do it. All right? You take a little bit of the pain. You have courage in that one moment to do that thing, to make that decision, to speak those words, to make that phone call, have that conversation, okay? To move forward on your idea, and all of a sudden, everything will shift for you. All right, I'm going to flick on a quick video here. We got a little bit of an Elon Musk video here. Awesome. I'm glad you love this. Thank you. I love that you guys are here. Hell yeah, we're going to do it. We're going to fire it up and get motivated. So great to have you guys here. Becky, I think you're right. What are rockets made of? Dreams and starlight. Obviously. You might be, as far as I'm concerned, right? All right, let's do it. But you know what, Becky, I'll say, Becky, you're a writer. Some people can't even imagine writing things. It's like, I can't sit down. I couldn't, people can't do that. So to them, it's like building a rocket ship, right? Some of the stuff you do. I mean, or like, Lisa's a fitness competitive bodybuilder and fitness model and all these things. That's incredible. Some people can't even imagine the discipline it takes to do all that, right? That's like building a rocket to them. Same type of stuff, okay? All right, let's keep on rolling here. Let me find this. Okay, here we go. I'm going to share this, and we're going to watch this cool little video to start out about Elon Musk. Okay, here we go.
Did you think I need to pack this in?
Never.
Why not?
I don't ever give up.
Hi, Elon Musk speaking. I didn't have any money. In fact, I had negative money. I had huge student debts. Like, I have a bunch of houses, but I don't spend a lot of time in most of them. I couldn't afford a place to stay and an office, so I rented an office instead, because I got a cheaper office than I could get a place to stay, and then I just sort of slept on the futon.
And a few years ago, people were laughing at you. Now, not so much. I mean,
okay.
SpaceX, I founded approximately 4 years ago with the goal of revolutionizing access to space.
What I really want to try to achieve here is to make Mars seem possible.
Step 3 would be to provide humans to another planet services to the private sector and the government.
What gives you satisfaction?
Doing something useful for other people that I like doing.
Is being a little bit weird, crazy, and eccentric a side effect of the successful, or is it the price of admission? It seems.
All right. Learn a little bit more about Elon Musk there. And you can see, here's the thing, is that you can see, we see him today at the peak of his power, right? The peak of his success. And he's only going to get more successful from what it sounds like, right? But you can see he didn't have a place to live, didn't have a place to sleep. He said, he had some money, but he reinvested all the money from his PayPal deal and all that into Tesla and then into SpaceX. And if anybody doesn't know this, but around 2008 or so, Tesla was about to go bankrupt. SpaceX had 3 launches that failed. They had one more launch. All the creditors that had loaned the money, because his own personal fortune wouldn't be able to pay for it. We covered this in when I did the Elon Musk special a couple months ago. You can find the video in my video library, okay? But, Elon was about to lose everything. And then he had a successful launch in SpaceX, and it changed everything for him, okay? All right, let's watch a little bit more. We're going to learn about his first principles thinking, and then we'll discuss it. Here we go. So this is Elon Musk on first principles thinking.
Well, it's easy to say simplify, and it's very difficult to do it. I have this very basic first principles algorithm that I run kind of as like a mantra, which is to first question the requirements, make the requirements less dumb. The requirements are always dumb to some degree. So if you want to start off by reducing the number of requirements, and no matter how smart the person is who gave you those requirements, they're still dumb to some degree. If you have to start there, because otherwise you could get the perfect answer to the wrong question. So try to make the question the least wrong possible. That's what questioning the requirements means. And then the second thing is try to delete the whatever the step is, the part or the process step. Sounds very obvious, but people often forget to try deleting it entirely. And if you're not forced to put back at least 10% of what you delete, you're not deleting enough. And it's somewhat illogically, people often, most of the time, feel as though they've succeeded if they've not been forced to put things back in. But actually they haven't, because they've been overly conservative and have left things in there that shouldn't be. So, and only the third thing is try to optimize it or simplify it. Again, these all sound, I think, very, very obvious when I say them, but the number of times I've made these mistakes is more than I care to remember. That's why I have this mantra. So, in fact, I'd say the most common mistake of smart engineers is to optimize a thing that should not exist.
Right. Ooh. I mean, that's pretty heavy. When you think about that he just said the most common mistake of smart engineers is to optimize a thing that should not exist. So think about it in your own lives, right? In your own process. That's what I'm thinking of. Where can I improve this? Where in my life do I have a thing that I'm optimizing on that shouldn't exist? Is there a product? Is there a service? Is there a habit? Right? So again, what he said is break it down to its core elements, right? Make sure the first thing is start with the right question. Make sure you're asking the right question, okay? Too many times we answer questions, we work on questions and problems that we shouldn't even be working on, right? So you have to break down the thing you're trying to accomplish, what's at its core elements, okay? That could be like weight loss. It could be saving money. It could be, for him, building a rocket ship. They said the rockets were too expensive. So he said, well, what are rockets made of? Copper, aluminum, all these different things. And he said, so how much should this cost? And what actually he found out was it was the manufacturing cost being overcharged, okay? So the core first principles, solving the right problem, asking the right questions, stripping away the noise. You heard that. If you don't delete enough of process steps, or you don't delete enough nonsense and have to put something back because you deleted so much away, you haven't stripped away enough. And then you try to rebuild it into an optimized fashion from only the most important elements, okay? Like you want to lose weight. Let's talk about this, okay? We want to get in shape. First of all, we got to find a gym, right? No. Okay. Well, what does it really mean? I need strain. I need tension on my muscles. I need to exercise the muscles, and I need proper nutrition and proper sleep and proper hydration. Okay. Nutrition, one column has to be, that's one core element, right? Another, stimulation, exercise itself. Okay. Turns out this one is way more important than the second one. Okay. The nutrition is more important even than the stimulus, but you still need it. The third one, you got to find the right outfit, right? No, delete it away. Stupid, delete it away. Okay. Got to find the right gym. No, delete it away. That's after. Those are add-ons after. The most important things are personal habits of nutrition, stimulation of the muscles, okay? And then sleep. You have to sleep and hydrate. No, hydration is part of nutrition. If you do those things, good things are going to happen. And if you stay on it with robot-like focus and consistency, good things will happen, okay? Now you can think about outfit. Now you can think about gym. But Elon Musk is saying strip away the things that don't matter. Answer the right question. Okay. If you want to gain muscle and get leaner, okay, we have to have an increase in protein intake, a decrease in fat intake, right? We have to have a decrease in carbohydrates. Trust me, I'm talking to myself right now, not to you guys. This is me coaching myself. But these are the core elements, right? If you want to save money, you want to build wealth. Well, you want to get into something that will create leverage. That's why people buy real estate, for example, that will give you leverage, right? To build wealth further than what you're putting into it. Okay, for example, okay? But whatever it is, ask yourself the right questions, break it down to its core elements, rebuild it, optimize it. All right, and understand, don't try to optimize something that you shouldn't be doing in the first place. Think about it, okay? Where are you wasting your time? Where are you wasting your money? Where are you hurting your health? But you optimize the hell out of it, okay? I've seen this before. Someone's having trouble financially. They're having trouble. And yet they're planning on, getting a new toy, buying a new truck, buying a new motorcycle or a new ATV or a jet ski. And you're like, dude, you got to pay your credit cards off. What are you doing? Well, if I do this, then, you're optimizing the wrong thing, for example, okay? So these things are really important. You got to focus on the right question, first of all. All right, let's talk a little bit more about this, but most people call Elon Musk an inventor, right? And it's surface level, really. He's not dangerous because of what he builds. He's actually dangerous because of how he thinks. So some of his first principles, we just explained them a little bit, but I'm going to go more deeply, more accurately in these, okay? Number one, truth over consensus. He doesn't ask, what do people believe? He asks, what is actually true, okay? And number two, discomfort as a strategy. He's on the factory floors 100 hours per week. He had near bankruptcy, right? And this is the thing. The quality of your life and the quality of your income, the quality of so many things depends on your level, your ability to handle uncertainty and discomfort, okay? How much discomfort are you willing to handle? Jensen Huang said the same thing when I covered Jensen Huang, okay? Elon Musk says the same thing. How much pain can you take? How much uncertainty? How long are you willing to get out of your comfort zone for? Okay? But at some point, you can be comfortable being uncomfortable. The Marine Corps, we talked about this all the time. We want to thrive in chaos. I'm going to say it again. You want to thrive in chaos. That's how we train our Marines. That's how special operators train. It's all at a basic level, right? The most powerful warriors, the best warriors in the modern era can thrive in chaos, right? They can wade into uncertainty and chaos and prevail, okay? Elon Musk had near bankruptcy. Not fun, okay? Remember, comfort is the tax of mediocrity. I'll say it again. Comfort is the tax of mediocrity. Number three, Elon Musk focused on learning speed. He wanted his learning speed to be elite level, okay? He focused on that over credentials, and he focused on hiring people with learning speed over credentials as well, too. He was not formally trained in rockets and cars or AI, yet he leads all three industries. Think about that, because he decided, I can learn these things faster than someone with credentials can show up and say, oh, well, I have experience in these things, okay? He said, I'm just going to learn how to do them, and I'm going to use first principles thinking to solve the problems and go ahead and do that. So ask yourself where you're at in your life right now where you're putting yourself down because you don't have the credentials, okay? You're saying, I can't do this because I don't have the credentials. I can't do it. I don't have the credentials. I don't have the degree. I don't have this. I don't have that. Go read a book. Read the books they're reading in those classes. Okay? Find a mentor, find a coach. Online, there's everything. You got ChatGPT, right? You got Gemini. It's like having a PhD advisor right there. Ask the questions. Now, you're going to have the discipline, okay? And you're going to have to put yourself on a program, which is one of the advantages of being in college and being in school, but you can create that for yourself. Speed of learning matters, okay? Learn it faster. Do it faster, all right? Cut out the middleman. If you don't have the credentials, what you have to ask yourself again, first principles, what does the credential mean? Well, it shows that someone else is vouching for you, saying you have a level of information, knowledge, and skill. Can you still have the level of information, knowledge, and skill without a credential from somebody? Sure. Get the credential, okay, get the skill, get the ability, get the knowledge, and then go prove it to somebody so they can check you off and say, yeah, I've seen him do this or her do this. I've seen them do that. They might not have a formal degree or credential, but they perform like someone that does. And that's it, right? Then you met the mark. You've done it, okay? Next, systems over ego. Tesla equals an energy ecosystem, okay? SpaceX is logistics of civilization. He's trying to go to Mars, right? XAI, intelligence engine. He has now Tesla. What they say now is actually a robotics and AI company. If you guys didn't know that, Tesla's actually a robotics and AI company. Okay, he's placing systems over ego. You're going to see the importance of systems later when we talk about James Clear today. Okay, failure is data, not drama. Number 5, failure is data, not drama. Remember, it's not over until you decide it's over. Okay, like I've said before. Let your last failure plant the seeds of tomorrow's victory, okay? Let your last mistake be your greatest teacher. Failure is just data. It's not drama. It's not over. It doesn't mean you're done. You're not out, okay? Explosions equal feedback for SpaceX, right? Missed deadlines equal iteration. You got to do it again, do it better, do it faster, okay? Failure equals refinement. What did you learn? If you can derive meaning from the failure, it's not failure, right? It's just going to inform you for the next time you do it, okay? Derive meaning from that L, from that loss you took. Use it to inform your next effort. It's just iteration. Do it again, all right? Number 6, mission over mood. You need to do it whether you feel like doing it or you don't do it, okay? Whether you feel like doing it or not, you need to go do it. That's the bottom line. Elon Musk doesn't ask, how do I feel? Do I feel up to it today? Do I feel motivated? Do I feel inspired? No. He asks, what problem must be solved today? You saw when he was on Joe Rogan what he said. He said, what really drives you? He said, doing useful things for other people. That's it. He wants to be useful, to do useful things, solve problems, right? So Elon's great reset translation, think from truth, not from tradition. All right, number 1, train in discomfort daily. Step out of your comfort zone daily. You got to do it, okay? I'm bringing some of the most successful people in the world to you with lessons and for me, right? So we can grow and learn together. But I'm doing this because they're real lessons we can apply immediately after this session, immediately after this live, right? You can do it right away. So please take notes, reference this again. I'll break it into chapters so you can use it. Like, share, subscribe. Don't forget, if you're watching this, whether I'm live with me right now or on the replay, please go ahead and like, share, and subscribe and comment afterwards as well too, so you can spread the word. But again, number 1, think from truth, not from tradition. Number 2, train discomfort daily. Number 3, master learning speed. Learn how to learn faster, okay? Master learning faster. Whether that means you have audio, you have video, you're doing it yourself, you're super focused, you're blocking off time daily, that can make you learn it faster too, okay? I'm not talking, and I want to address this. This doesn't mean, oh, Ben, I wasn't good in school, so I don't think I can learn that. I'm not saying that, okay? You learn at your speed, but double, triple, quadruple down on the repetitions. Repetition is the mother of skill, okay? Repetition is the mother of mastery. Do more than the other guy or girl. They might have more talent than you. That's fine. They might learn faster, at better scores, better this, better that, okay? They said they're a better student, okay? School's not for everybody. You sit there as a young person with all this energy. You sit there and you have to learn these things. It favors people who are honestly more into doing that, right? So if you had a high degree of energy, you might not have been too focused. Okay, so don't put yourself down. Don't doubt yourself. Get more repetitions in it. Learn your way, but just block off more time to do it, okay? And you will learn. Therefore, you will master learning speed, okay? Your learning speed will go up like Elon Musk, all right? Next, build systems, not just output. We're going to talk about James Clear in a minute, Atomic Habits, and you'll see those. And then always, always, always recode failure as feedback. Please, recode failure as feedback. Elon Musk, I want to say this, is not the future because he's rich, okay? He's rich because he trains discomfort. He learns faster than fear, and he builds systems that outlast emotion, all right? That's the deal. Now, let me go to the chat here real quick, see what we got in the chat before we jump into Serena Williams, who will be exciting for sure. I see that, Lisa. Fasted cardio first thing in the morning when in competition prep. Yep, just go do it. I love it. You're writing an outline. Awesome. Hey, Jasmine, what's going on? Good to have you. All right, let's see here. All right. Yeah, Elon is a pretty impressive guy, but let's go. We got someone else really impressive coming up right now, Serena Williams. Let's go ahead and talk about Serena powerhouse that she is. She's pretty unbelievable. Let's talk about this. All right. So, Serena, it's interesting because people always want to come up with an excuse for why someone has done more than they have, okay? People will say, yeah, Serena was just gifted. That's all it was, okay? This thinking is lazy. It's lazy thinking. There are a lot of gifted people out there. Serena was engineered through first principles, okay? And engineered, through her dad as well, too. But she had to carry on the success by herself later, okay? And this is no small feat. I'm not taking anything away from her. Serena's first principles: truth over comfort, built on cracked courts, early mornings, ruthless standards in Compton, California, in Los Angeles, okay? Identity before outcomes. I am a champion in training, she would say to herself, okay? Identity precedes results. Remember I told you guys earlier, one of the most powerful things in the human condition is the need to stay consistent with the way we see ourselves. So you got to control the way you see yourself, no matter what other people are saying to you, how they're putting you down or boosting you up, okay? You need to stay anchored and understand my identity. It has to be my own creation. As your identity goes, so you go. As your identity goes, so the story you tell yourself goes, so you go. So you go on your habits, so you go on your actions, so you go on your beliefs and your actions and your identity, okay? Therefore, your destiny. All these things are tied together, guys. It all starts right here. It starts right there, all right? Serena also believed that habits beat emotions. She didn't just train when she's motivated, okay? She trained because her systems she created commanded it. So she just immersed herself in the system and followed the system. Build systems, okay? Let's watch a little bit from Serena here, because this is really some good stuff about her. And honestly, I've learned a lot just in my research. All right, here we go. All right, here we go.
If you were a tennis player, who would you want to be like?
Well, I like other people to be like me.
The gold medal goes to Serena Williams, and it only took a little over 1 hour.
Serena Williams win her 5th Australian Open title, the most in the Open era.
A moment we might not see again in history.
She's amassed 23 Grand Slam singles titles, 16 Grand Slam doubles titles, 4 Olympic gold medals, 843 match wins, 319 weeks at world number 1, and over $93 million in prize money. She's the most decorated tennis player and one of the greatest athletes ever to walk the earth. To achieve all that, she's had to overcome chronic injuries, life-threatening illnesses, personal tragedy, relentless pressure, and racism, often coded, sometimes overt, from fans and the tennis establishment. At 39 years old, 25 years after she turned pro, and 21 years after she won her first major, she was the most feared player in the women's game. So how did this Compton-raised black woman become the GOAT in a historically affluent, overwhelmingly white sport?
All right. Yeah, she's got such an inspiring story. It's absolutely amazing, Serena Williams. And they said it very well in there. I mean, she faced adversity, injuries, pressure, rejection, blocking her, right? In something that was, traditionally an overwhelmingly white sport, affluent sport for rich people, okay? But, so, I mean, again, wherever you're at, there's someone who's got a story that's really impressive and powerful and has been there and done that and still succeeded. Okay, did she have talent? Of course she did, right? Did she have great training with her dad? Of course she did, okay? But let me tell you what, that's all her on the court. And that's all her afterwards, too. So many of these people implode after they lose their mentor. Look at Mike Tyson. Customato passed away. He had years of problems. And now he's back on top again, right? But this took a tremendous amount of mental strength for her to keep the success going. All right, so we talked about some of her habits, her first principles: truth over comfort, identity before outcomes, habits beat emotions, pressure as a tool. Pressure was normalized for her, okay? Her nervous system was conditioned for domination. I'm going to say this. We used to talk about this all the time in the Marine Corps. We talk about stress inoculation. You've got to be inoculated for stress. And how do you do that? You go into stressful situations and you confront them and you do them until you can handle them, okay? But until you step through fear, you're never going to inoculate yourself to stress and fear. Fear inoculation, stress inoculation. You understand the basic components, for example, of combat, right? I will say combat's overwhelmingly scary, dangerous. You could die. You might not come back from it, okay? And when you realize that for the first time that people are going to try and kill you and even worse to you, and that hits you like a wave, the fear. But as you go to combat and you use science and really first principles thinking as a Marine, you break down the enemy, you break down the situation, the geometry of fire. We call it geometry of fire, right? So what can a machine gun do? What can an RPG do? What can a rifle do? What can mortars do? And you break this down to a science, the geometry of fire. You mitigate risk. You have a lot more confidence going in. But you're never going to fully have it until you do it, until you go in there, first of all, with the preparation, the risk mitigation, but then you actually go in there and you do the job, okay? And the more you do it, the more confident you're going to get, all right? And same thing with Serena. Pressure was normalized. Her nervous system was conditioned for domination, okay? Like as a public speaker, for me, the more I do it, the better I get at it. And the better I get at it, the more I do it, I also feel less nervous getting on stage. Okay, I can remember the first time years ago I got up for a paid speaking engagement, keynote address to a big company, and it was pretty nerve-wracking, right? Pretty nerve-wracking, even though I'd already spoken for years before that. But at this point now, when I get up, I'm just automatic because I've done it and I know how I'm going to feel. I know all the points to hit. I already know how it's going to be with the audience, how I'm going to feel inside, and I know what my job is and what messages I want to deliver. Okay. And you get up, you show up a certain way. I have a routine the night before that I do. I have a routine even 2 weeks before that I go through with rehearsals, with writing, with knowing my points. Okay. So pressure becomes normalized and you get yourself stress inoculated by rehearsal, repetition, preparation. Okay. And then you show up on the X, on the objective for the mission. For Serena, it's on the tennis court. For me, it might be on a speaking stage before it was in combat. But you show up the most prepared with the best support group around you, okay, whatever that means. And you don't, do anything stupid like, oh, I forgot my racket. Oh, I forgot, to pack my suit. Oh, you reduce all the variables down. So all you got to do is show up and perform. And the enemy gets a vote in combat. The opposition gets a vote in tennis. And the audience gets a vote for what they do too, okay? But the bottom line is you perform to the best of your ability, and you keep loose enough and agile enough, you know your material and your job well enough that you can pivot when you need to, okay? Very, very important. All right. So next, recovery as a performance skill. Sleep is a weapon. This was a big thing for Serena, okay? Recovery as a performance skill. I talked about this before as first principles for bodybuilding, right? Sleep. For her, sleep was a weapon. Nutrition was intelligence and also another weapon. And breathing equaled regulation. Her breath control is what kept her stress inoculation, kept her dominant on the court and not getting overwhelmed. Okay, go back to your breath. Again, I talk about this in my coaching membership, my community. We have whole sections we do on it. The last coaching session, we went through a breathing exercise. I do it with my one-on-one clients as well too. But breathing control, breath control. Okay, always go back to your breath. When you're feeling stressed, you're feeling like overwhelmed, go back to your breath. Okay, you take a deep breath in, let it out, control it. Very, very important. We used to call this combat breathing in the Marine Corps. Okay. Next, number 6, reinvention is not negotiable. And again, I talked about this too. How do you adapt and overcome? How do you adapt or disappear, right? Adapt or disappear is what the title of the thumbnail is for this live. So reinvention is non-negotiable for people like Serena, like Elon Musk, okay, like Sarah Blakely, James Clear, The Rock, all these different people. Injuries. She had injuries. Pregnancy. Comebacks. New eras. New players. People imitating her now, right? Her own sister. Adaption equals survival. You have to adapt and overcome or you're going to disappear. Adapt and overcome or disappear. That's how it is. So if you're feeling overwhelmed right now, you're like, I don't know how I'm going to do this AI thing, all this stuff, I feel like I'm behind the curve. Start studying, start learning. Remember, like Elon Musk, Master your learning speed. Improve your learning speed by repetition, okay? Learn more, study more. Keep showing up here to these lives for what I'm teaching, okay? Keep showing up here to these. Definitely will fill your head with good things, all right? So Serena, the great reset habit stack for her was a 1 daily champion hour she had per day, 1 pressure rep per day, recovery discipline, okay? We talked about the sleep, hydration, and breathing, nutrition. And she installed her identity. She focused on her identity. She pruned it. She shaped it. She was the one who was like a sculptor, sculpting that identity. It wasn't negotiated, okay? Let's watch one more video on her. Let's watch one more thing on Serena. All right, here we go. All right, here we go.
Tour, she got a massive serve, probably the best we've ever seen in women's tennis.
She wants it so bad. Her hunger, her
Whoa,
fight,
look at
her
that. I got to stop it real quick. Did you see that athletic move? That's next level, okay? That was insane. Anyway, let's keep going.
desperation of needing to win is unbelievable.
The story of Serena is well known, but the start of her tennis legend began here in one of the toughest cities in the United States. Compton, California is where she started playing the game at just 3 years old. The future tennis sensation quickly drew national attention.
9-year-old Serena Williams is one of the best preteen tennis players in the country.
Monica Seles, she's a great player, and she's #1 now. And she's only 16. She's the youngest #1. So I want to make a record just like she did, like be #1 like 15 or something.
Open the stand, right there, straight through. There you go. That's great.
Coached by her parents, Serena and older sister Venus soon became the most talked about tennis talents in the country.
There'd been some other good African-American players, but nothing like two sisters, 15 months apart from Compton, tough part of Los Angeles, that were heading towards the top of women's tennis.
I think it looks better. When we hit together, we both get so much better because we don't miss. I think it's just not competitive, but it's like to the point where I don't want to mess up because then I'll ruin her practice.
I've covered them since they were teenagers. I thought they would burn out. I wasn't sure they loved the game that much. I think they had more, the game was imposed on them by their father's dreams. It's a real tribute to both of them. And I think they both learned to love the game.
I don't like the way you're holding your weight back. So you're holding your weight back here, and you want your weight to be shifting back that way. Can I show you?
Yes.
Hit me a couple forehand.
Serena's first major title came in 1999 when she won the US Open.
It's really big news, especially for African American tennis, because I'm the first actually Black woman to win the major title since Althea Gibson. That was in 41 years. It's good news for the minorities and just a different group of people.
They were very, very young. I mean, Serena winning US Open at...
All right. So I want to cover that with you guys a little bit more of her story. And again, a remarkable story, but you know, that was the start. That was the beginning. Okay. So you saw she was already dominating at the youth level years ago, right? And then just carried it on. And again, as that columnist said, the sports writer said it's a real tribute to her that she kept it going when this is something he felt like the sport was kind of imposed on them, but they fell in love with it, and they had a champion mindset as well too. Habits, identity, systems, all those things like that matter so much, okay? And just remember, Serena didn't win because she was liked. This is really important, right? We talked a little bit about the racism, about the pressure, about her not really fitting into what the normal tennis culture was at the time. She won because her standards were higher than her moods and then her need for being liked, okay? The standards, the systems matter so much, okay? And we're going to jump into another one here. We're going to jump into one more here and talk about, actually, James Clear, okay? Let's talk a little about James Clear and about building habits with James Clear. And a big thing with James Clear, he's the one that wrote Atomic Habits, okay? The thing with James Clear is that you have to understand, his thing with Atomic Habits is that you don't rise to goals You fall back to the systems you created. And the reason why I'm jumping into James Clear right now is because it's the same thing with the Williams sisters, all right? Serena and Venus Williams, that they had the systems around them. So you need to create systems around you in order to win. It's so, so important. If you don't have a system, you're gonna fall back to willpower, and willpower is not reliable, okay? You need to build your life around the thing you're trying to accomplish, have a system, and have habits that are supported by a system, by a schedule, by blocking off time, all those things like that, that will let you fall back to your system. And as we say in the Marine Corps, you don't rise to the occasion. You're going to fall back to your training in combat. So whatever level of training you had, you're going to fall back to that in combat. Make no mistake about it. Let's watch this little video from James Clear right now. Let's see what he's got to say. All right. Here we go.
One way to think about it is just kind of basic math. Like if you just look at the numbers, if you were able to improve by 1% each day for an entire year, and those gains compound, you would end up 37 times better at the end of the year. And if you were to get 1% worse, you would whittle yourself almost all the way down to zero. What's interesting here is that everybody wants a transformation, right? Everybody wants a radical improvement, want rapid success, but we fail to realize that small habits and little choices are transforming us every day already. For the rest of this talk, there are 4 stages of habit formation. I'm going to take you through each of those 4. So the 4 stages are noticing, wanting, doing, and liking. Noticing, wanting, doing, and liking. One of my favorite things about noticing, one of my favorite strategies for discussing it, it's called implementation intentions. Many people think that they lack motivation when what they really lack is clarity. They think that they need to get more motivated, that they need willpower.
I'm going to play that really quick again. The noticing, wanting, his 4 things. All right, so we all see those, okay? Here we go.
So the 4 stages are noticing, wanting, doing, and liking. Noticing, wanting, doing, and liking. One of my favorite things about noticing, one of my favorite strategies for discussing it, it's called implementation intentions. Many people think that they lack motivation when what they really lack is clarity. They think that they need to get more motivated, that they need willpower in order to execute on a habit. If I just felt like writing, if I just felt like meditating, if I felt like working out, then I would do it. But in fact, they don't have a plan for it. And so they wake up each day thinking, I wonder if I'll feel motivated to write today. I wonder if I'll feel motivated to work out today. But instead, you can take the decision-making out of it by explicitly stating when, where, and how you want to implement the habit. It sounds easy to say, let's just start a plan. Let's, write down exactly what you should do, and then maybe you'll follow through on it. But of course, we all know that there are challenges that arise. It's not quite that easy. So here's a little strategy that I like to use to make sure you can come up with a better plan of action. And it's called a failure pre-mortem. So the way that it works is you think about the habit, the project, the goal, whatever the most important thing is that you want to work on. And then I want you to imagine, fast forward 6 months from now, and you failed. And then tell the story of why you failed. What happened? What challenges did you encounter? What was it that took you off course? Once you have all that stuff laid out on the table in front of you, you can start to make better choices about how to develop a plan. You can start to have if-then plans. So not only do I want to exercise for 20 minutes on Monday at 5 p.m., but also if I do not exercise because I have to take my kid to practice or whatever, then Tuesday morning at 7 a.m. I will go in, right? You can have ways to adjust for these challenges. Stage 2, wanting. One of the most overlooked drivers of habits and human behavior is our physical environment. And this is an interesting insight about our desires. Your environment often influences them. We want things simply because they are an option, right? Simply because they are in front of us at the time. Thankfully, you don't have to be the victim of your environment. You can also be the architect of it. You can decide to design something to make your good behaviors easier and your bad behaviors harder. So when it comes to habits, if you want to practice your guitar more frequently, put it right in the middle of your living room so you run across it all the time. If you want to read more, when you make your bed in the morning, take the book you want to read, put it on top of the pillow. When you come back that night, pick it up, read a few pages, go to sleep. Many of our desires are simply shaped because we have an environment that shapes us in that way.
All right, I'm going to pause really quickly there because I think it's so important to understand the power of our environment to shape what we do, okay? So, how many of you, put it in the chat if you have a creative space or you have a space that supports your goals. Put a little fire symbol in the chat if you have a space where it's conducive to creative work, to your career, to your job, whatever it is you're trying to work on and get ahead. But give me a fire symbol in the chat so I know, because this is so eye-opening. It's so important. If we can control our environment, and again, this is something I do with my one-on-one clients, we talk about as well too, is shifting your environment to make it more conducive to what the goals are that you have and what your vision is and what you're trying to build in life. But yeah, I like this guy too, Jasmine. He's pretty amazing. He's got fantastic insight. Again, it's James Clear. His book is Atomic Habits, and you guys will get a ton out of it. I've read it before a long time ago when I was still in the Marine Corps. But yeah, he's pretty darn amazing. I'll tell you what. So let's see here. Yep. Hey, Becky, exactly. I knew I'd get it from you. Fantastic. Yeah, he's a good one. So, and at least I see that. I wonder what she'd be like as a bodybuilder too. She probably would have dominated. Honestly, she could probably do any sport pretty amazingly well. But, sometimes some of that power can be a hindrance too. In tennis, maybe overshot, right? It probably took a tremendous amount of training for Serena Williams and Venus Williams, her sister, to hit her shots. And Serena's more powerfully built than Venus, if you remember. But to hit the shots inside the lines because she's so strong. But oh, that's awesome, Jasmine. Yeah, you love that moment at Super Bowl and Kendrick Lamar's "Like Us" song. I didn't even see that. Honestly, I've heard about it. I didn't see it real time though. I need to go back and look at that. But with James Clear, okay, guys, setting your environment is so important. Oh my gosh. You got to have a creative space. You got to have a workspace. You got to have a place that's not so chaotic, and also something that's going to remind you of what your goals are. Like you said, put the book down in a place you're going to bump into. You're going to practice guitar. If you want to practice guitar more, put the guitar in the middle of the living room. Okay, all these type of things matter so much. But ask yourself right now, first steps first, setting your environment. How can I work on my environment to make me more likely to do the things I need to do for my goals? For example, how can I eat better? How can I change my environment to eat better? All right. Number one, get all the snacks and all the junk out of the house. Okay. I'm telling myself right now, Ben, get all the snacks and all the junk out of the house. Get rid of the cake. Get rid of all this stuff. Lisa, you didn't hear that. There's none of that stuff in the house. You're trying to quit drinking alcohol. Get the damn alcohol out of the house. If you're trying to quit, you have a problem with it, right? Get rid of it. Get the beer out, get the wine out, get the alcohol out. Next, have a conversation with your family, with your loved ones, people that live with you. Tell them what you're trying to do, okay? Ask them to support you. Really tell them how important it is that they support you in changing the environment. Get rid of the junk food, get rid of the chocolate, get rid of all the stuff, get rid of the beer and alcohol and wine. Don't keep food in the fridge, in the cupboards, that when you get weak, you reach for this, okay? One of the reasons like bodybuilders will have those little rice cakes in the cupboard, because if they get weak, they can have a rice cake. Low carbs, low calories, low everything, right? It's just like air basically, okay? So I know you heard it, Lisa. I know. Yeah, so this is setting your environment up, okay? Having a quiet space for thinking. I can't tell you how long. I've been doing this for a long time now, right? And one of the things I've seen from the most successful inventors and very successful people of all walks of life is they have a space where they go to think. Now, that can be outside. Einstein was known to go out in a little boat, row himself out in a boat, and sit for 30 minutes to an hour, and be alone. Other people go for walks. There's something called a trance in motion. Dr. Milton Erickson would talk about runners. Okay, go for a run, go for a walk, put some music on, right? Or put the binaural beats that make you just kind of go in a trance in motion, so you can just think. Some people have a quiet room where there's nothing in there. They sit down. Some people go to the library. Library is a quiet space, but you can change your environment. If you can't get the environment you want where you live, find a place you can go that will get you the environment. Some people go to Starbucks Coffee to do that, okay? I think it's a little bit too much action going on there for me, but you can create your environment. You can design habits and structure and systems by leveraging other existing spaces and not just what you have. You don't have to say, well, I don't have a mansion, Ben, so I don't have all these quiet rooms and all these things. I don't live near a park, Ben. I understand. Find some place where you can go. I don't care if you shut the lights off, put your headphones on, and put a trick I used to use is put one reading light down over what I was focusing on, and I darken the room, okay? That's like you're in outer space, and you have only one thing to focus on. You have one thing to focus on, okay? It makes a big difference. So environment, as he said, is very, very important, okay? So what else did he talk about? Again, you don't rise to goals. You fall to systems. Very, very important, okay? Let's listen a little bit more to James Clear, what he has to say. So I think it's resonating with everybody, and I think it's super important as well, too. All right, here we go. Another one from him. Actually, a different. All right, we're going to do the same one. Let's a little bit more. Here we go.
Go to sleep. Many of our desires are simply shaped because we have an environment that shapes us in that way. So the moral of the story is I've never seen someone stick to positive habits in a consistent fashion in a negative environment. Maybe you can overpower it once or twice. Maybe you can have the willpower to do the right thing on one day. But if you're constantly fighting against those forces, it's going to be very hard to follow through. Stage 3, doing. The important insight here, especially for habits, is that in the beginning, the most important thing is just to shut up and put your reps in. Just make sure that you hone the skill, right? And you can start to think of it, the way that I like to think of it is that any outcome that you wish to achieve is just a point along the spectrum of repetitions. So if you have few reps to more reps, and you can imagine an easy goal, moderate goal, a hard goal, the more reps that you put in, the more likely you are to achieve that goal. Now, what I like to say is you should optimize for the starting line, not the finish line, right? So often when we think about habits, goals, routines, achievements, it's all about the milestone. We think about how much weight we want to lose, how much money we want to earn, how many subscribers we want to have. It's all fixed on the finish line. But instead, if you can optimize for the starting line and make it as easy as possible to get started and get your reps in, often the outcomes just come as a natural result. Okay, stage 4, liking. The only reason that we repeat behaviors is because we enjoy them, because we like the reward. If we don't enjoy the experience along the way, we're unlikely to stick with it. And that means that you need to figure out ways to bring a reward into the present moment because good habits have a problem. And that problem is that for good habits, the immediate consequence is there. There's a cost that happens in the moment, but the reward is often delayed. So you need to figure out how to bring the reward into the present moment to stick to a good habit. And someone else who's going to be speaking here, Seth Godin, had a very nice little quote about this, where he said, the best way to change long-term behavior is with short-term feedback. And one way to think about that is that long-term behaviors, sticking with writing for years on end or going to the gym and so on, they have those delayed consequences. So you need a way to enjoy it in the moment. So here's what I think you should do. Get a wall calendar where you can see every day of the year mapped out on it. And then any day that you do your task of writing jokes for 15 minutes, I want you to just put an X on that day. And you'll have a couple false starts here and there, but at some point you're going to get a little bit of a chain going, right? You get 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 days in a row. And at that point, your only goal becomes to don't break the chain. Doesn't matter how good or how bad the jokes are. Doesn't matter if it makes it into your material. Just don't break the chain. What's interesting about this is that by measuring your progress, you get an immediate reward in the moment, right? The reward of like having a great stand-up routine 40 days from now or 40 weeks from now or whatever, is not, it's so delayed that you need something in the moment that makes you feel good. So if you do those 15 minutes, you can cross that off. That's a way to get an immediate hit, a little bit of a reward by tracking it. We often fear that in order to achieve something new, to become someone new, we have to abandon everything that we are. But in fact, that's not how it works. Change can happen plank by plank, board by board, habit by habit. And gradually, you can become someone new with
all right. This guy's saying so many things that I believe in, that I teach and I talk about. It's unbelievable. Okay, I hope you guys are getting a ton out of that, but really understand that you can create positive, lasting change by small incremental actions, daily actions, the small success habits I talk about, the small wins that build success momentum. Celebrate the actions you take. Even if it's not, the desired result yet, celebrate the fact that you took the action. You got the repetition in, okay? Learn, improvise, adapt, overcome, get better, okay? Learn, listen to the feedback, see how you can adapt, see how you can get better, do it again. And again, you heard concrete steps you can apply today. That's a goal of my podcast, goal of my channel. Get a wall calendar. If you can't get a wall calendar, live inside your Google Calendar or your calendar on your phone and on your laptop, okay? Live in there. And he said, every time you take that positive action, okay, you do the habit. Every time you do it, mark it in the calendar. And the goal becomes not to break the chain. So you do it every day. If your goal is to work out all the time, right, to get stronger, leaner, bigger, leaner, stronger, all those things, okay, then you're going to mark that down on your calendar, all the days you worked out, all the days you ate right, okay? Your goal is not to break the chain. If you're trying to become a better writer, you got to write every day. If you want to, become a better comedian, you got to write jokes every day. If you want to do what I do, right, coaching and do executive coaching, building a YouTube channel or whatever it is, building a community, then every day you have to do outreach. You have to produce some type of content, right? All those things like that. And the goal is, again, not to break the chain. And one of the things I talk about a lot is you have to associate positivity, an emotional dopamine hit, right, from taking the action. Don't just focus on, when I get there, I'm going to be in the best shape in the world. I'm going to have $1 million, whatever it is, because that can seem so far away. Celebrate the victory in the moment. Pat yourself on the back. Be like, hey, you did a great job. Pump yourself up. Be your own best coach, okay? Share it with somebody that's going to also hold you accountable, that's holding you accountable, that's going to tell you good job. That's what my community is all about. When you have a community like that, you tell people, hey, I'm super proud. This week, I worked out every day. This week, I wrote every day. This week, I produced either a short form video or a long form video, or I went live every day. People can say, hey, great job. We know you're trying to work on that. You pump each other up. So your environment of people you surround yourself with, your physical environment, your mental and emotional environment, okay, and your inner environment, the way you speak to yourself, okay, what you focus on mentally, all is part of environment, in my opinion. It matters so much. All right, guys. So he had some fantastic things. He's got some more to say. Let's listen to what he has to say here. A little bit more. All right, here we go. A different video, but some more good stuff from James Clear, the author of Atomic Habits.
I think a real unique selling point that you have here in helping people understand how to win and change habits is that you say, hey, if you're having trouble or you've got some bad habits, it's not you, it's your system. And I think that's what makes this book really unique. And I want you to take your time and unpack that. Oh, wait a second, James. You're telling me my bad habit's not my fault. It's my system. What does that mean?
Well, all right. Let's see here. Okay. So again, talking about systems, talking about physical environment, emotional environment, social environment, all those things like that. What's going to impact your ability to stay the course with your habits, with the actions you need to take. And again, if you remember that continuum he showed, okay, a low amount of actions, a high amount of actions, right? A small amount of actions, big amount of actions. So for a small goal, you only need so many, actions. A larger goal, the largest goal, you need a ton of repetitions, tons and tons of repetitions, right? Small amount of repetitions, big amount of repetitions. That continuum he showed, okay, in the last video. So again, it comes down to how many quality repetitions you need to do in order to meet that goal, okay? To build the skill, have the knowledge, all those things like that. But I will tell you at the same time, you don't want to learn it wrong, okay? As we used to talk about in football all the time, we talk about perfect practice makes perfect, okay? But, practice does not make perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect because practice alone makes permanent. Does that make sense, guys? Practice makes permanent. Perfect practice makes perfect. Remember that, okay? So if you're practicing it wrong over and over and over, you're going to learn it wrong, do it wrong. So get the highest quality, and that doesn't mean don't start. Start, okay? Definitely start, but you got to keep improving as you go. Learn and go, grow. Learn, adapt, grow. Keep trying, keep growing, and keep doing it. But if you don't start, you're never going to get any feedback and know what's going on, okay? Or know where you need to make improvements. But definitely understand that you need to reflect and have some feedback and look at the feedback. How is it going? What what's the feedback on what you're doing? How are you performing? Are you improving? Try to get better every time, right? Because again, practice makes permanent. Perfect practice makes perfect. A huge difference. Okay. I think we have one more video from James Clear here we'll watch because he's got some very useful things for us. And then, okay, here we go. One more.
I do think it's possible. However, I don't think that changing through an epiphany is a very reliable way to change. And I don't know that it's something you can bank on or can plan around or strategize for. It might happen to you a couple times in your life, but I don't think that it's an efficient way to try to build a new habit. So if you can't change or hope to change through an epiphany, then what are your options if you want to change your identity? And I think the best avenue that you have is to cast votes with your actions. So in a sense, every action you take is like a vote for the type of person you wish to become. So no, doing one push-up does not radically transform your body, but it does cast a vote for, I'm the type of person who doesn't miss workouts. And no, writing one sentence may not finish the novel, but it does cast a vote for, I'm a writer. And I think this is like a meaningful difference between my approach or what I recommend and what you often hear. Like you often hear something like fake it till you make it. And I don't necessarily have anything wrong with fake it till you make it. It's asking you to believe something positive about yourself, but it's asking you to believe something positive without having evidence for it. And we have a word for beliefs that don't have evidence. We call that delusion, right? Like at some point, your brain doesn't like this mismatch between what you're saying and what you're actually doing. And so to bring it back to your question about my friend who lost all this weight, I think you have to genuinely believe that story about yourself in order for the actions to start to feel aligned. And what do you do if you don't genuinely believe you're a healthy person or don't genuinely believe that I'm the kind of person who would track my macros or whatever? Well, I think you have to start with these very small habits. You have to start by proving it to yourself in some little way. Maybe it's just that you did walk the 3 blocks to the meeting and didn't take the taxi. Or maybe it's just that you did order a salad for lunch and not a burger and fries. And none of those things individually are going to change your body or even the story right away. But if you keep casting votes for that behavior and keep casting votes for that identity, then eventually you get to the point where it's like the basketball example. You kind of have to admit that you're a basketball player because you've been shooting hoops for the last 2 years. And
all right. So again, I think this is really a very hopeful, positive, uplifting growth mindset outlook. Okay. There are two things, the growth mindset and the fixed mindset. The growth mindset says that I can learn new skills and abilities. Okay. I can change my identity. I can change who I am by taking action, by learning, by, learning new skills, abilities, knowledge, changing my belief system, changing my behaviors, my habits, all those things like that. Okay. That's really what he's talking about, because otherwise the other thing is you got what you got and you are who you are born to be genetically. And that's it. You only have so much intelligence, so much athletic ability, so much, knowledge, inherent skills, and you inherited most of it from your parents and you're doomed to be whatever they were. Pretty much fixed mindset. Okay. You know it right away when you talk to people too, because you'll hear things like you got it or you don't, things like that. Okay. So he's very much talking about, we have the ability, and I'm a firm believer in this. I coach this in the coaching membership, my community, and my one-on-one clients as well too. But the thing is this, that we have the ability to make positive, lasting change in our lives if we decide to take the small actions on a daily basis that will start to steer the ship in that direction. And here's the thing, okay? First of all, small things are all things. Trent Dilfer, Super Bowl quarterback, used to teach that all the time in the Elite 11. I used to coach with him, okay? And I was like a leadership coach with them for a few of the camps, and learn this, okay? That small things are all things. Number one, take small actions, and they're going to add up over time. The small actions are the preparatory steps that will lead you to the big show and the big event. You will get to an inflection point where all your small actions have accumulated and added up. Now you have so much skill, so much ability, so much know-how. As he says, you've casted so many votes in this direction for this thing that says, I am this new thing. I want to have this new ability. I want this new career. I want to make this change. You cast so many votes, okay, by taking the actions to move towards it, that eventually you arrive to a point where now you have a major opportunity in front of you. And for you, it might not even seem like that big of a deal anymore, because it's just a natural foregone conclusion after taking all these years of actions, these small actions over and over and over again. It led you to this point because you are that thing now. Okay. Yes. Now you are a bodybuilder. Yes. Now you are an entrepreneur. You're a business owner. You're a tech entrepreneur. You're a restaurateur. You're a manufacturer. Okay. You have a media company. You are a YouTuber. Okay. You are a writer because you write. The act of writing, you're a writer, and you do it over and over and over again. You try to improve and get better at it. You are an actor, okay? You are a model, all these different things like that, okay? You name it, whatever it may be. You are a career professional, in accounting or for a consulting firm, okay? But you are a career professional badass at this, because You do the hard work necessary to make yourself the best of the best. Okay. And if you do that enough, you're going to be seen as an expert and you're going to get compensated accordingly as well too. Okay. So again, whatever change you're trying to make, you need to focus on the starting line. As he said, don't focus on the finish line as much. So often people are focusing on the trophy, the cars, the money, the change, the body. They're not focused on, I need to get to the gym today, or I need to control my nutrition. I can't snack at night. I got to hold off on the snacks. That's when it's painful. The lonely work, okay? When you're tired, when you're cold, when you're hungry, when you're afraid, are you going to have the discipline, the faith, the belief? Can you keep the vision in the front of your mind, okay? And simply, as James Clear said, just do it. Just take the action. Have it scheduled, have it blocked, already decide when and where it's going to happen, then you just do it. You knock it out, okay? And when the time comes to do that thing, you don't do anything else. You don't say, well, I'm going to put it off to later because I have to do this thing. You do it. You do it then, okay? Keep doing that. Next thing you know, you're changing your life. That's how it is. That's how it's going to work, all right? All right, guys, we've been going at this for a while here. I'm going to answer some questions in the chat and see what we've got out here. Yeah, Jasmine, self-talk is so important. And once you tune into it, you definitely see how crappy we talk to ourselves about ourselves. And yeah, it is. You're right. It's sad. That's awesome. That's great, Lisa. You improved your self-talk. I see you, Becky. You're already a literary genius. I want more. That's great. Yeah. It takes a long time. You're right about that. Oh, yeah, definitely check it out. So, guys, if you're interested in working with me in my coaching membership, my community, or you're interested in becoming a one-on-one coaching client with me, you want to work with me one-on-one, the link for these things is all in my bio on YouTube. The links are also in my bio and Instagram. But definitely, Doc, if you can DM me on Instagram as well, too. But I strongly suggest you just book a no-fee, it's free, discovery and strategy session with me. Okay, Doc? And discovery and strategy session. And if you want to be a one-on-one client, that's the place to do it. And we will discuss what you have going on, your priorities, what's important now, and we'll form a strategy going forward for you as well, too. Okay? But yeah, that's available to you. The link is in the bio. You will see one to book a no-fee discovery session with me. Okay? And you'll see another link in my bio and in YouTube. My YouTube bio, also to learn more about the coaching membership and community. Okay, you'll see coaching membership and community link. Go ahead and click on that. It'll take you to a page, a web page. There's a video, 5 to 7 minute video that has everything about the membership and about the community. It's a great video, walks you through some of the sessions. It's absolutely fantastic. Got some of the members right here in the audience right now in the chat. And I've got amazing people that I have the privilege of working with in the community. Very creative, very intelligent, very supportive. It's a great accountability circle. If you don't have people supporting you, you don't have an accountability circle, it's easy. You just get one by joining my community, my coaching membership. It's $87.99 per month, okay? You get one group coaching session live on a Zoom call. It's a private coaching session. I teach for about an hour and 15 minutes, and then we do Q&A for about 45 minutes to an hour, okay? And everyone's there on camera. We can all hear each other. We're talking. It's very cool. And people get a ton out of it. They really like it. And if you miss a session, I hang it in the members area so you can have unlimited replay. You also get my presentation that I coach from. The presentations are pretty darn good, if I do say so myself. But you can go ahead and access the presentation and watch the video, go through the presentation. So you can pause it, replay it, look at it over again, download the presentation for yourself as well too, okay? And so it's very cool. And then there's daily chat interaction, the Q&A in the community. You can DM me in the community as well too. Okay, there's special offers in the community. We also have a leaderboard. We have challenges, so people are competing on things. But I have challenges every week for everyone, whether it's for movement, for decluttering your space, for finding inner peace, for practicing meditation, you name it, posting a travel picture, all kinds of different things in there. But it's really fun. I think you get a ton out of it. And again, if you don't have an accountability circle and you don't have a positive circle of people who are uplifting you and inspiring you on your journey to achieve your goals, then you got to get one, okay? And this is available to you, the Ferocious Optimist community. Again, the link is in my bio and Instagram and on YouTube. Link is in my bio there. You can also email me at benpappas.com, ben@benpappas.com. Again, my email is ben@benpappas.com. Any feedback, any questions you have. And again, you can book that no-fee strategy and discovery session. It's, again, a free coaching session with me where we're going to talk about your situation, how I can help you, what you want to work on, okay? Especially if you want to be a one-on-one client with me, that's the place. Book that session. Book it in there. You'll see you have access to my calendar, and you can book the session, and we will get together and we will talk. But let me see any questions we have in the chat right now, guys. We'll do a little Q&A. Yeah, of course. My pleasure, Doc. Any questions right now for me, ladies and gentlemen, guys and gals? Joe Saunders, I don't know if you're here anymore. Nick, I think you took off. Good to have you guys here. And if there are no questions, I'll wait for a minute. And then we will call it. But I appreciate you guys all being here. Thank you so much. And so much fun having you here on a Sunday with me. And I will be live tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern time, okay? I'm going to interview Jay Dorlius, the founder of the Green Beret Chronicles, also the founder of the War Room Podcast, and also the founder of Dark Arts Coffee. Okay, Jay is a Green Beret, retired Green Beret. It's going to be a great interview for about 2 hours, and I think we'll all get a ton out of it. Hey, Joe, I see you here. Yeah, hit that like button, guys. Thank you, Joe, so much. Hit the like button, guys. Subscribe. If you're watching this and you're not subscribed, again, I'm always surprised at how many people are watching but aren't subscribed, okay? So please go ahead and subscribe, like, comment, and share it. When I break it up into the chapters, you can share this with people that you think it'll resonate with. But as I always say, everyone, make yourselves better, make the world better. Have an amazing, amazing rest of your Sunday, and let's start the week off with a bang. I hope to see you at the interview with Jay tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern time. I will post everything so you see it. And as always, go get yours. This is your time, everyone. Go get yours. Let's go. I'll talk to you all soon. Thanks for being here and let me do what I love.